Hello and welcome to Dynamics 123 from Prodware. In a previous video I showed you how easy it is to post a single vendor payment. In this video I'll show you how to create and manage electronic bank payments for multiple vendors. When you're ready to post payments to your vendors, using the payment journal you can export a file with payment information on the journal lines. You can then upload the file to your electronic banking system to process the money transfers. I'll show you the setup that you need to do in order to use this function, and I'll show you how to set up bank accounts and how to export payment data to an electronic bank file. I'll use the Suggest Vendor Payments function and show you how to modify payment lines. I'll demonstrate how to export payments to a bank file and posting the batch. Finally, I'll show you how we can review the files created by reviewing the credit transfer register. Let's get started. To be able to export data to a file, you need to set up a bank account and a vendor bank account. Dynamics 123 supports SEPA credit transfers, which stands for Single Euro Payment Area. So for this demonstration, I will use the Worldwide Bank Euro account set up in Cronus UK Limited. From my Role Centre, I can select bank accounts from the navigation pane, where I'll see all of the bank accounts that I have set up. From here, I'll select the Worldwide Euro bank account. You'll notice on the Posting Fast tab that this account is set up in euros. On the Transfer Fast tab, you'll also see the bank details for this account. You'll need to enter a SWIFT code and an IBAN bank number if you want to use this account for credit transfer. I have assigned the payment export format to be SEPA, which Dynamics 123 is using by default. Next, let's have a look at a vendor account. From my Role Centre, I can select vendors from the navigation pane. From the list, I can select a vendor to check. I double-click and open the vendor account. You'll see from the Foreign Trade Fast tab that this vendor has euros set as the currency code, and if I select Navigate from the action ribbon, I can view and enter vendor bank accounts. There are 3 bank accounts set up for this vendor, and I'm going to select the first one, Antwerp. I need to make sure that this vendor bank account has a valid SWIFT code and IBAN account number assigned. Assuming this is correct, I can go back to the vendor account, and on the Payments Fast tab, I can select one of the vendor bank accounts which I know has a SWIFT code and IBAN number assigned. In this case, I'll choose Antwerp as the preferred bank account for this vendor. Now we have completed the setup, we can go ahead and start paying the vendors by exporting payment data to a file. From my Role Centre, I can select payment journals from the action ribbon or from the navigation pane on the left-hand side. For this demonstration, I'm going to create a new journal batch specifically for electronic bank payments. I select New from the action ribbon and I'll set up a new payment batch that I can link to my Worldwide Euro bank account. I'll call the batch Euro. The balancing account type is, of course, bank account, and the balancing account number is Worldwide Euro Bank. In addition, it's important to ensure that you tick the box to allow payment export. If not, you won't be able to use the export function. Once the batch has been created, I can go ahead and start using it. I select the batch and then on the ribbon I click onto Edit Journal. This will open the Payment Journal window where I can begin populating the lines. This can be done manually, or in our case I'll select Suggest Vendor Payments from the action ribbon. In order to select only vendors that are paid in euros, I need to complete some of the options. Once I've entered the last payment date, I can go ahead and select the account type. In this case, bank account, and then I'll select the Worldwide Euro bank account. Further down, you'll see that I am filtering on currency code Euro. This means that Dynamics 123 will only suggest vendor payments in euros. When I click OK, Dynamics 123 will suggest a number of payment journal lines. You might find it necessary to modify the payment journal lines before you can export the payment data to a file. Let me show you how. The first thing that you can do is delete payment journal lines. For example, if I want to exclude a vendor, all I need to do is highlight the vendor payment journal line and click on to delete on the action ribbon. This will remove the lines from the journal. You'll notice that there is a column called Message to Recipient. You can use this field to specify a message that will be exported to the payment file when you use the Export Payments function. For example, I can type a message will be included in the file and this vendor will be informed. Let's now have a look at how we can export data to a file. In the Payment Journal window, I can click on to Export to File on the action ribbon. You'll notice that the system has discovered one or more errors. When the Export Payment File function is run, it checks for a number of things. If I click on OK, you'll see the lines containing errors are displayed in red. If I select one of the lines, you will see in the fact box on the right that the error message is displayed. This error is telling me that the general journal line must have a value in the recipient bank account. You can see that on the lines that have errors, there is no recipient bank account assigned. If I click onto the drop-down on the recipient bank account, I can check if the vendor has any bank accounts specified. In this instance, the vendor has 3 bank accounts specified, and in this case, I'll select Utrecht. Since both transactions are for the same vendor, I can simply press F8 and the field above will be copied, so both transactions are the same vendor bank account. Now that all of my payment lines have a recipient bank account, I can go ahead and try to export the payments to a file. This time, you will see that Dynamics 123 has created a bank file. I'll open the file, which is a SEPA compliant XML format, so that you can see what it looks like. This file is now ready to be uploaded to our electronic banking system. Now that I've created a payment file, I'm ready to post the payment journal. In a previous step, I showed you how to delete payment journal lines. Deleting payment journal lines can result in document numbers with gaps, as you can see here. Now, when I try and post the journal, I will get an error because there is a gap in the journal numbers. I need to resolve this before I can post the journal. You'll notice in the action ribbon that there is an option to renumber document numbers. So, if I select all of the lines and click Renumber Document Numbers, Dynamics 123 will renumber the lines so there are no longer any gaps. Now, if I click on Post, the journal lines will be posted. Finally, let's have a look at how I can use the Credit Transfer Register to review the files and the data created. I'll use the search function to find the Credit Transfer Register. If I open the Credit Transfer Registers window, I can see the credit transfer line I just created. If I want to see the entries for the transfer, I can highlight the line and click onto Entries on the action ribbon. You can now see the vendor payment lines for the vendors we paid earlier. Using Dynamics 123 for electronic payments to your vendors is an excellent way to save time and money. With this feature, you can reduce the hassle of writing or printing checks, putting them into envelopes, and save on postage costs too. In fact, many vendors prefer electronic funds transfers as they speed up the process of payments of their invoices and reduce confusion and errors. Gain efficiency and boost productivity by making your business day even easier and more productive. Call Prodware today and take your business to the next level.